welcome to Love Out Loud Austin. We have a very special guest today. I know I say that every week because all the guests are special, but today she's very special. Why? Because we share the same last name. We have Lesa Walker here with us today. She is with Compassionate Austin. We're going to talk a lot about what she's doing, what the movement is doing, and where they're going and their plans that they have for Central Texas. Hi, Lesa.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course, of course. Once we met a few weeks ago,
yes,
and you kind of let me in on exactly what Compassionate Austin is and how you help the community. I was like, you have to get on the show. There's no way you're not going to be able to do this. And just to let you guys know, she usually works in the background. She's not really in the foreground. She likes kind of handling all the business in the background. So I had to persuade her a little to join us on the show.
That's true. That's very true.
Okay, so let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a public health physician by background.
Okay.
And I've always had a variety of interests, and my public health career focused on children with disabilities and their families and creating systems of care that help them get better services. So in all of that effort, I understood the power of empathy, and the parents and children were really the voice that brought meaning to my work. As I spent 25 some years in that career, I also, as everybody, looked at the world and the issues of peace, health, and sustainability and green living, and thought we were needing to make an effort to improve in those areas, obviously, but I was trying to think of ways that really that progress could be made. How do we do it? And there's projects, there's organizations, there's governmental entities, all very important. But to boil it all down, people need to live differently. They need to take actions in their lives. So I was at a point in my career where I could shift gears a bit, and I did, and I wanted to create a way to engage youth primarily at the beginning in positive actions for peace, green living, and health. So I did that as a trial run, and through that work I got connected with an international group called the Charter for Compassion.
Okay.
And in turn, that person, the executive director, connected me with the Compassion Games International. So I started volunteering with them because much of my work resonated with the elements of compassion, which I call 3D compassion, caring for others, self, and earth, which brings about peace, sustainability, and health. So I worked with them on an international level and realized that there was a Compassionate Cities campaign that the Charter for Compassion promotes globally. And there's over 400 compassionate cities worldwide, and the number grows pretty much on a weekly basis.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So here I was in Austin, volunteering a lot on the international level, and I thought, well, we are a compassionate city by a lot of activity that goes on here. We have over 6,000 nonprofits. We have a lot of people working to help and achieve good things in our city. However, we have needs in our city, some very striking needs that still need to be addressed. And so I thought we should strive to become a compassionate city, an ever-evolving, ever-growing compassionate city. So I worked at the local level to have us designate ourselves as a compassionate city. So that's sort of my background that led me up to establishing and founding Compassionate Austin.
Wow. So you've been putting a lot of work in.
It's been quite a few years, yeah.
Okay. How many years has it been?
Well, it's been at least since 2008, at least that long, working on the local and international levels in this regard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite a journey.
It has been a journey. That's what it is. It's really that for everybody. And part of what that journey took me is I wanted to walk my talk. So I have a story. I was encouraging youth at the time to do a challenge, to do a positive action for peace, green living, and health, basically compassionate action in each of those areas daily.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to walk my talk. So I did. And so in doing that, I became hyper aware of things around me that could serve for me to take those actions. So I was sitting in a cafe one day, just having a tea, looked out the window and saw a truck pass by, and it said Comfort the Children International. So So normally I might have let that truck just pass me by, but I was looking and taking intention in my life to look for things. So I said, I'll look up Comfort the Children International and see what they do, and that'll be my action.
Right.
So I did, looked them up, and liked their page on Facebook, learned more about them. They're an Austin-based entity. They do work in Africa, so that was that. A month or so later, because I liked their page on Facebook, I got a notice that said, hey, last call for people who want to go to Africa to teach art to children. And I said, oh, I'll take my action today, and I'll just meet them and say, respond to this and see what comes from that. So I responded, and ends up I went to Africa, to Kenya, and taught art to high school students. And my point of this story is that simple actions we take in our lives, positive actions, compassionate actions, bringing about our awareness and our mobilization to meet needs and take action. A simple step like seeing a truck and looking that up leads to amazing things. So you can build a life of adventure, and really wonderful things happen in your life when you take these actions and strive to do them on a daily basis so they become a habit. And that journey I did every day for 2 years, and journaled about it on Facebook, a daily positive actions in those 3 dimensions. And so it was a very powerful, I still do it, but the journaling is not there, but it was a very, very powerful journey for me, and it continues to be so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Every time I meet someone that has traveled to Africa, they always tell me it was a life-changing experience. Do you have that same conviction?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Africa, and this wasn't my first trip. I went before to Ghana on a service trip, and that was just amazing. And this was to Kenya, and Mai Mahiu was the city or town, and amazing people and relationships I've kept to this day. So it, for me, was a life-changing but life-fulfilling trip, and I would love to go back. I've been back again, and I just love it. It's an amazing country, amazing countries I visited, amazing continent. So much to learn.
Seems like you've had a life full of service.
I guess so. I've actually feel like it's been more coming my direction. I've learned so much from people, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy finding people who've experienced really in-depth challenges to their life, and they grapple with those. And I think they have a wisdom that comes from that. And in sharing that with me, I seek that and find a richness from that. And I'm also very big on animals and conservation efforts, and so the totality of life and how we thrive together as an ecosystem is very important to me.
You mentioned that there were other compassionate cities around the world. I think you said 400.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
So, what does it mean that Austin is a compassionate city? What does compassionate Austin mean, and how do you feel the community benefits from compassionate Austin?
Well, in April 2016, the Austin City Council signed a resolution designating Austin as a compassionate city. And that doesn't make us a compassionate city. It sets a framework, it sets a commitment for our city, but what really makes a compassionate city are the people in it and how they live their lives. So my message to Austin and surrounding communities is that we are all compassionate Austin. It is in our daily lives that we create a more compassionate city or not. And so I think my efforts are in Compassionate Austin to galvanize a movement for mobilization and showcasing compassionate action in our city, so that we truly move forward in that direction. It's an aspirational goal. We're not saying we're said and done, we're Compassionate Austin and we have that plaque to put on our wall and that's it. What we're saying is we strive toward that, and everybody ideally has and owns that identity when they live here and helps create that.
Tell me about the process.
Okay.
What's the process of getting a resolution?
Oh, process for a resolution.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it didn't just happen.
no.
Right? It had to go before the city council, and so
Yeah.
who spearheaded that? Who championed that?
Ann Kitchen,
Okay.
and worked with her staff, and very helpful people. And I think it's a matter of persistence in some ways and making clear your message. And one of the things that really helped Compassionate Austin is that there are other compassionate cities in Texas as well. There's Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth. And so this movement, in some ways, Austin was needing to come up to the plate. And we also had a mayor's resolution that said that being compassionate and creating compassionate cities was very important. So those elements brought it to the table, and I think raised awareness about it. And also the city at that time was doing sort of a compassion game of sorts. They were having a recycling competition among all the districts, and so that was a wonderful example of how the community can rise up and take compassionate action in a fun, creative sort of way that ends up benefiting the community and making our city more compassionate to the earth, for example.
Excellent.
So those components together helped bring it forward, helped sort of champion the message, and then really it was the councilwoman that was willing to step forward and bring it up to the council.
Okay. And you presented it to her?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to get that out because you're very humble, but you were very much the driving force behind this movement.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So tell us some of the hurdles that you face, that Compassionate Austin faces here locally and globally.
Well, I think the hurdle is recognition and building that identity, and having people prioritize the practice of compassion skills in their life. And every one of us can do that, and I invite you to go to our website. It's sort of a do-it-yourself roadmap of compassion, and learn how you can actually practice compassion skills and strengthen those. It takes putting that as a priority in your life. However, the science now has shown that compassion skills can be learned, practiced, and strengthened in people. So, and once you strengthen your compassion skills, it is an invaluable contributor to your well-being and health, etc. And as well as you have that, you bring it to the community. So it's critical, really, and we don't emphasize it enough. So the kind of the struggle is to create enough momentum around that and have people own it, because we're not an organization, we're not sort of vying at the table with other nonprofits for a targeted arena. We're elevating all that nonprofit work, but we want ideally every business, organization, community group, faith group, school would own and acknowledge their role and what they contribute to making this a compassionate city. Just by a simple statement on a website or a simple acknowledgement of the resolution. Because once you say it and once you commit to it, you're more likely to own it, embrace it, and act upon it. And so I would love that to see that happen, and that's what I'm sort of working towards. So
Take it from Lesa. Take ownership of your compassion.
yes, definitely. Use it as a compass for your decision making and your choices. Because if you live your life and see the world through that lens, if you wake up, I do a 3 daily questions exercise. In the morning, you wake up and ask yourself, what can I do today to care for myself? What can I do today to care for others? And what can I do today to care for the earth? And then I have that intention and awareness throughout my day, ideally. And at the end of the day, I ask myself the 3 questions again. What did I do today to care for myself? What did I do to care for others? and what did I do to care for the earth, and in such a way holding yourself accountable to your day. And when we do that, practice is the way we create habits, and it's the way we create our lifestyles. And that's what's going to make the change.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
So, let's get a little bit more personal, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. I want to know your why. Why? What's your passion behind this? You could be doing anything. Why are you doing this? Why are you really pushing this Compassion in Austin movement?
Well, again, in my career, I was surrounded by incredible people, parents of children with disabilities, people with disabilities who truly revealed meaning of life to me, and as well as my family. I'm very much a mom and a wife, and I love family and friends. But in that, I search for that depth of meaning in life, and so I think that brings you an element of empathy. Empathy can be overwhelming sometimes. So my why comes from sort of this, it's a wonder, but it's also an ache sort of for the world. Seeing what's happening in regard to peace, seeing what's happening in regard to the environment and our health. I live the world of public health, but all of that is integral. All those elements are integral to health. So my why is that I felt I had to do something to mobilize people so that we got a mass effect on that. And the only way, as I looked at the picture of it, I said, well, there are these projects and people can get involved, but then they go home and what do they do with their lives? So the only way I thought to make a difference and really make change, to move toward peace and sustainability and health, was to have people practice habits and practice compassionate action, positive action, so that they create habits and actually change the way they live. Because if enough people do that, then we'll make the changes we need. But if we don't, we're just sort of listening to something and then letting it drop. And I know it takes effort. I know we're all tired and we have so much to do. And we're overwhelmed sometimes. We're sort of stuck with being overwhelmed with empathy. Compassionate action is a way of understanding that your daily actions do matter, and that even the simplest of things, like I gave the example, didn't take me time at all. It led to an amazing event for me. That is how you can live your life and truly make a difference, that those daily actions do matter, and each of us can do it. And so I stopped and went part-time in my work so I could explore that and try to do something with it.
One thing I notice about the movement or any organization, when you're trying to bring all walks of life together for one common cause and purpose, there can be some hiccups. And so I commend you on that. What's it like bringing people from different belief systems, different faiths, different religions, different political ideologies and things of that nature? How do you put all that together and say, listen, no matter what you believe, no matter what political party you may affiliate with, everyone can show compassion? How do you communicate that and then get people to join in the movement?
Well, I look sometimes to the fact that the Charter for Compassion expresses it well. When you look across all religions and belief systems and ethical frameworks, compassion is the common thread. And compassion is basically, some say, the golden rule, in the sense of you want to treat others as you would treat yourself. Some people say it in the way, don't treat others as you wouldn't have yourself treated, because sometimes people will argue not everyone wants to be treated the way you would want to. So you have to be culturally attuned. But I think the point is that that's a cross-cutting theme, is our natural human inclination and desire ultimately to be compassionate, and things come in the way of that. So it is a common unifying theme that is stated in the Charter for Compassion, and the Charter for Compassion was affirmed in our Austin City Council resolution. So learning about that and looking at the science of compassion is very interesting as well. There's the CCARE, the Center for Compassion, Altruism, Research, and Education at Stanford, that is amazing with its research around compassion, showing how important it is to your health and well-being, so everybody, and economics, how it impacts a community's economy. So there's so many value-added things for practicing compassion. Also, the Greater Good Science Center at Berkeley is a powerhouse of how to practice compassion, daily things you can put into your day to do that are very simple. There's training programs in compassion. So I try to emphasize the common thread throughout our cultures and our religions and our ethics, and the science behind it, and the value you have when you do it. And so hopefully people listen. I think sometimes the people think compassion is a soft, sort of amorphous thing, that's a feel-good thing and that's it. Well, it's definitely not just that. I mean, you can feel good, but it's a very powerful skill, and you can strengthen that or not. So I want everybody in Austin to make the choice to strengthen that skill, because it's incredibly important to our community. Because how we have divisiveness or hate, things emerge from that lack of compassion, and we need to work very hard to set the habits so that they are strong enough to resist those elements.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. You mentioned the people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So how about now we maybe address our viewing audience and the people of Central Texas and tell them how can they help? What's the best way an individual or an organization or a community can help with compassion in Austin?
Okay. Well, I welcome you, because as we say on the Compassionate Austin website, we all are Compassionate Austin. So you are definitely already a part and a vital part of Compassionate Austin. But what you can do to emphasize that would be very welcome. First, you can go to the website we have, and that information will be shared. You can connect with Compassionate Austin via the email address. And also, I invite you to identify with Compassionate Austin. If you have a website, put up a section on your website that highlights the Austin City Council resolution, states that you're committed to compassionate action, and share how you contribute, your role in creating our compassionate city. Own it, basically, and identify it, and make that known to your networks so that they do likewise. Because when we surround ourselves with that, we can't help but be more compassionate, seeing it in others, be inspired by others. So I want the resolution to live and breathe in each and every one of you. And if you want, there's badges on the Compassionate Austin website. You can take a badge and put it as your profile picture on your social media, or put it on your website. Honor yourself as a Compassionate Austin champion.
Excellent. So before we go, are there any other organizations that you may want to kind of highlight now that are a part of Compassion in Austin, and any shout outs you want to give?
Oh yes.
To
yes.
maybe people, organizations, companies that are a part of the cause?
Yes, definitely. Again, on our website we have on the front page Hallmarks of Compassionate Austin. And one of those hallmarks, of course, is the resolution, so hats off to the Austin City Council. The other is we've established, and I as founder helped organize the OpenIDEO Austin Chapter. And that is a group of people, free to join, that do design thinking for social good. It's a platform for that, and we bring challenges to Austin to generate design thinking to address the challenges and bring about social innovation and solutions. And I just want to give a shout out. Austin generated 5 ideas to the Global Bridge Builder Challenge for OpenIDEO, which was building peace, prosperity, and the planet. That's really awesome for a city to do. There's over 30 OpenIDEO City Chapters globally, so Austin has put ourselves on the map, and 2 of our ideas have made it to the short list, and I want to highlight those ideas. One is by Brandon Veal, an idea to create a fellowship to address gentrification and displacement issues in Austin. The other is socialgood.us, which has a project called The Good Emporium. Ruben Cantu and Celine Steer head that up, and that's to bring awareness and engagement in Austin in the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are rooting them on, hopefully to win the award, in which they may share in as much as $1 million award with other award winners. So Austin's on the map. The other people that have come up to be Hallmarks are Go Love Now. They're a program in schools that teach children kindness and compassion. And also, as I mentioned, socialgood.us. They're one of our hallmarks. Compassion Games is on the website. I invite everyone to participate in the Compassion Games. They're an international organization, but we bring the Compassion Games to Austin. It's a great way to engage anybody, anywhere, anytime, any age in compassionate action. The focus of those Compassion Games are in September around the International Day of Peace, and in April around Earth Day.
Excellent. We actually
and
met.
I also, oh sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also want to champion Love Out Loud Austin, because I think that they represent you, and this TV series represents exactly what I'm talking about when I speak of a hallmark of Compassionate Austin, highlighting groups, projects, programs, organizations that are bringing about social good in our city. So thank you very much.
Excellent.
Appreciate it, JD.
Yeah, we actually met at one of Ruben Cantu's events.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
that's how it happens.
That's how
Showing
it happens.
up, basically,
Showing up,
right?
Yeah. So Social Good US is doing a lot of good work
Yes.
Here in the city. Ruben will be on in the next few weeks, actually. So
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
excited about that.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, JD.
We're partnered in this, right?
Definitely.
We're on the same team. So we'll have all the information that you need for Compassionate Austin. Please go to the website. Please do what you can to take ownership of your compassion. Thanks again, Lisa.
Thank you, JD.
And as always, Zach, this is for you.